And we ask, Lord, whoever watches this online, Lord, may they receive Jesus Christ this instant, and they be transformed by your love and message. We love you, God. In your name we pray. Everybody said,
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Well, welcome. We are the WEiRD Preteen Retreat, and what we do is partner with area churches to help preteens discover their identity in Christ. And we all know that at this age, they're starting to question, there's labels that society snaps on them, telling them that there are certain things, that they're either just a geek or a jock, or they're not smart, or they're not pretty enough. And what we do is, what we try to pray over these kids and teach them is their identity is who in Jesus Christ says they are, not in who the world says they are. And so our focused, intentional purpose is to solidify their identity in Christ. And I think it's beautiful that all these churches in the Cincinnati area come together, different backgrounds, all over for one common purpose. So we try to connect them with their church family, and we do that through small groups. And then we try to connect them to a larger community of faith, which is this opportunity. Several churches come together. And then we also try to connect them themselves to Christ. All right. So here, you'll see on the backs of our shirts. Does anybody have a WEiRD shirt on? Yay, hey, stand up. You get to do a funky dance. Do you have it on the back of that one? Let the weirdness begin. You can always see the preteen retreat logo. And then, oh, thank you, Rebecca. That's lovely.
Nice.
Yay. That he is greater than I. God, Jesus, is greater than we are. And you always see that I in lowercase, because we must be made smaller so that he can be made greater. Our common bond together is Jesus. So in WEiRD, if you look at the letters, by focusing our identity, our ID, on Christ, the kids can start to see themselves for who they were created to be, and not in what society says that they are. If you look at the we give opportunities that connect you to your preteens. That's what WEiRD is praying that we are successful in. And then if you rearrange the letters, it's also a wider connection to the community in the Cincinnati and almost reaching up to Dayton this year area of churches, of kids. And I think it's just a little glimpse of heaven. It's wonderful. I love to see it. And that is what makes it look. I learned funky things you can do with your 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, look at that. All right, I get amused by simple things. But that's what we are. We are WEiRD, and we're so thankful for this opportunity to partner with you guys. And I guess what we'd like to do now is go ahead and pass out our small group leader guides. So could I get a couple of church leaders to come up here and pass these bad boys out? One to everyone. Yeah, are we going to applaud? Good job. Yeah. Seth, they're proud of you. Good job, Seth. All right. So when you get this guide, I want you to take it. I want you to hold it to your chest. I want you to breathe in and say, this is good. All right, hold on to it. Love it. Keep it. Cherish it. Laminate it if you must. This is going to be your guide for the weekend. Question. Are we going to give you another one? No. This is your guide. So you're going to take it home, and you're going to put it in a lockbox, and you're going to set a guard at its door, and you're not going to let anything happen to it after you read it, of course, and memorize it, because that's what we all do, right? Yay! Morgan, you have a question?
If people are here representing 2 or 3 other leaders, should they take extra guides to give to them?
Yes.
They can, or they can wait until they come. That's up to you. That's up to the church leader themselves. We'll let each individual church leader decide who they get the guides for, okay? All righty then. We're going to go through it, so you don't have to speed read. So our theme this year is really a cool one. It's based off of Matthew 5, 13 and 16. And that says, you are the salt of the earth. But if the salt should lose its taste, how can it be made salty? It's no longer good for anything but to be thrown out and trampled upon by men. You are the light of the world. A city situated on a hill cannot be hidden. No one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but rather on a lampstand, and it gives light for all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine. And so we are challenging them this year to be one of the bright ones and to shine. And so that they can go into their area, their atmosphere, and they can change it in Jesus' name. by being who they were created to be. So be one. And right, we're going to have a giant like on the stage. When you come back, this room, you're not going to recognize it. It's going to be totally pimped out. There's going to be lights and yeah, I said pimped out. All right, kids, don't say that at home. All right, we'll have staging and we'll have our bands here, Ignite Worship Collective, which are awesome. And then someone from Montgomery Community is creating this giant B and giant 1 that's going to be tilted, and it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. I said that too, kids. They're like sinking down.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Okay. All right. So here we go. Here this year are our participating churches. We've got some good ones this year, and we're so thankful for all the churches that want to partner with us. I want to take a moment and talk to you about a couple of the leaders that are here. Now, Tammy, I'm starting with Tammy because her church is center point and it's alphabetical, and I have to be fair like that. But we can talk about her first because she's in Germany. She's not able to be with us. Aw, isn't that sad? She has to be in Germany instead of here in Lebanon. Man. Anyway, she is in the small group team, and Tammy, if you haven't met her, is awesome. Her church is in Liberty Township. She's an amazingly gifted writer of our small group materials. So she was on the team that helped write the time that you're going to have with your kids. She is a supply gathering guru, and she opens her church doors for meetings and supply assemblies, like regularly. She's just whatever I can do to help. So we're totally thankful for Tammy. So if you see her name tag when she comes, that's who she is. And then the next person we have, it's not here yet, but I guarantee he'll be here just a little bit later because he runs on my time. Jake Niven, and he is from Christ Church at Mason. And they are located in, you want to guess? So good. All right, in Mason, he's the dance party maven. He's the guy that puts together all the hey kids, sick beats. And is that good? That was good. That was a good one. And that's what everybody dances to. He also shoots the videos. You're liking this. I've got one fan. All right. They do all the videos, and he helps create them. And you guys, if you've ever worked with videos, you know how many hours it takes to cut and to edit and to make things look good. And so he puts a lot of behind-the-scenes work in. And he's also going to be one of our speakers this year. We've got a Miss Rebecca Travis. Woohoo! She's here. She's our Vanna, our in-house Vanna. Her church is in the Montgomery Blue Ash area, and she actually created the small group guide, or helped to put it together, the one that you're holding. She was printing them out like mad yesterday and stapling, and she's amazing. She is my organizational hero, because sometimes when I get a lot on my plate, it's hard for me to keep it all together, and she was like, Kasia, she kept me in line, so I'm thankful to her. And she does it all. Last year, she was even out with me. We didn't have, it was an oversight, we didn't have wood out of the fire. And these kids, they needed s'mores. They were going to eat us. And so she went out to the woods with me, and we were like trying to stomp on wood and try to put it together. So the camp doesn't recommend that, so we fixed that for this year. But anyway, so that's Rebecca. And Rebecca has very cool purple hair. All right. And then we got Miss Teresa Roberts. You want to stand up and give a little whoop whoop? Hey, hi Teresa. Teresa is from Cornerstone, and that's in Westchester. Correct, it's the Westchester address. Close to Liberty Township, in between. On the hill. She is willing to jump in and help with whatever. Last minute, I called her a couple days ago and I was like, hey, can you help us hone in on the crosswalk? And she's like, sure. And it's not an easy undertaking, and she's just, she's there. And she is also the hostess of the mostess, because she's opened up her doors for the small group team to meet several times. And we're super thankful to Teresa. Next, we have Joel Betts. I put you on here. Yes, I did. He's in the back. He's also going to sink down. He's sitting next to my son. Hi, honey. All right, okay. He's from Camden. Have you guys ever heard of Camden? It's an actual place. And it's a very cool place, but he's our newbie on our team. He is from Louisville, Kentucky, my hometown. And he is, we're so excited to have him on board in the church. And this year he's observing, and then next year he's going to be put to work, whether he wants to or not, because I know him. All right. You're welcome, Joel. All right, then we've got Adam Irwin, and Adam is from Horizon. That church is in Newtown, so it's on the opposite spectrum. He's going to be our Russian scientist this year. Did any of you leaders remember what his name is? What did he name himself? Something Hans Wiesen. Isn't that creative? Hans Wiesen. Anyway, he's always willing to help. His church can do a lot of the printing for the signage that you see, and he is a secret strong man. Like in the years past when we've had talent shows, he'll just take like a frying pan and bend it. He'll take the phone books and rip them and that kind of stuff, and the kids are always like, ooh, ah. So anyway, and he's usually always hurt. That kind of goes hand in hand. Is he living in?
Yeah.
And his birthday's tomorrow, so we'll have to embarrass him since he was late. All right. Then we've got Montgomery Community. We have Miss Sarah Spencer. Oh, you win the contest. Okay, she is our registration specialist. She handles HEiRD like a professional. We're super thankful for her, and her heart is for WEiRD. She's been here for a lot of years, and her heart is really sees preteens grow. She does everything from spreadsheets to assigning cabins to making yarn pom-poms, y'all. She can do it all. So we're thankful for Sarah. And then from Montgomery, we also have Mr. Patrick Vale. Woo-hoo! He's here for himself. I am here. All right, he is Dr. Publicity. He networks like no other person that I've ever seen. He can make friends with anyone, and then they can figure out together how to rule the world. It's pretty amazing. His mind and his obedience to Christ is what birthed WEiRD, and we're thankful for him. And he is one of the speakers, and he's also a dance superstar. Hey, Adam, how you doing? Yay! I was trying to remember what your Russian scientist name was.
Hands, knees, and toes.
Hans,
elbows, knees, and feet.
elbows, knees, and feet. All right. So he's going to be a goofball. Nice. I was telling him how you can bend pans and rip things, and they're usually hurt.
This is all untrue.
Yeah. Okay, next we have Miss Kara Barton. Miss Kara Barton is from Rivers Crossing up there today. Their church is from Mason, and they're right across the way from Kings Island. She is all things fun. She used to work at Camp Kern, so if you have any questions, she's like our resident know-it-all when it comes to Kern, and she's got an eagle eye. I'm thankful for Kara because she can look at things and she can see detail like no other. So we love you. And her husband that wants to dress up like a dinosaur. All right, and then from Rivers Crossing we have Andrea Gosley. Woo! Ooh, someone's excited. She's here today. All right, she is the most creative writer for a large group ever. She can write plays, she can do scripts, she times out things, and she's usually always in the back, pacing, and like a sergeant, she keeps us on track. Right? Am I right? I'm right. She's like, y'all, we should have started 2 minutes ago. She would not be camp without her. And that's as far as I'll go on that one. All right, Sharon Bill is next, and we have Mr. Morgan Rose, whose birthday is not today.
Dang it!
Yay, there's Morgan. So, where is his church? Sharonville. You guys are so good. All right, he used to work at camp, and he has mad skills as far as for kids and being able to administer from that end. He is in charge of the cabin time this year and the glow game, and he is one funny, smart mama jamma. We like Morgan, and we like having him on our team. Other weirdos we have are Josh Woods, and he's in charge of worship, and they have the Ignite worship band. So you'll see Josh when he comes. He's from Florence, Kentucky. So this is a little bit of a trek for him to come to this training, but he will be here through the weekend, and you'll love getting to know him and his band. He's a dad of 3 kids, little kids. He's got a beautiful wife, and he's very talented, and he's super easy to work with. I think you guys will like Josh. And then there's me, Anastasia. I go to First Southern with Joel, and I'm the director of this camp, so if something goes wrong, just talk to someone else. All right, okay, here we go. I want to thank you guys, seriously, for the sacrifice that you're making to come. I know it's not easy to clear your schedule. I know it's not easy to find childcare if you need childcare. I know there's other things that could be done, but there is nothing more important than kingdom work. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're just having a whole lot of fun while we're doing it. And I'm excited because every year, kids are transformed, and their lives are changed. And thankfully to God, His hand is in this. And so we're just thankful you're along for the ride with us. We couldn't do it without you. It takes many hands. Okay, so open up your book. We're going to go through a couple pages in supersonic speed. Super. All right, so the first page, as soon as you open it up, this is something new, is notes and prayer requests. How can I pray for you? These are things when you have your small group, when you have your kids, if you've got prayer requests or things that you want to write down, even if y'all, it is something like, I need to remember that little Jimmy loves gummies. Just information that you learn about them when you're spending time with them. I saw this thing, and I sent it to the church leaders this past week, but it was talking about the hours that we have with our kids. And I know a lot of you guys, or that's what you're doing as leaders, you're instilling this in your kids and in your families every week. But if you look at it, on average, we get about an hour with our kids at church a week, right? And so if you're thinking positively, you might get 52 hours with them a year. I mean, on average, 52 hours of impact, 52 hours to give all of yourself so that God can shine and be glorious in their lives. Hello? It stopped for a second. Maybe that was in prayer. I don't know. Anyway, all right. So 52 hours to work with them. This camp gives you 26 hours. That's exactly half of that 52 you get all year long. So if you really give this its best, you're scratching in a whole other 6 months of effort and work and prayer and toiling into these kids that will be fruitful and multiply for generations. That's what we pray for. That's what we believe. So write this stuff down. Get to know them. If you want to write their name, their parents' names down, if you're not familiar, whatever. But use this page as your personal note that will take you to give you like a step ahead when you go back to your churches, when you're trying to remind them of what we've learned and how to build deeper relationships. You can come back to notes that you've taken here. So the next page is the table of contents. If at any point you're like, where is the nighttime guide? You're like, oh, it's on page 16. And you can turn. All right, so I'm thankful for the table of contents. That's great. Next page, this is our schedule for the weekend. So we've got our Friday and our Saturday. We'll go through that in just a bit. But notice, I want you to notice the box in the bottom right-hand corner. In a minute, not in a minute, I lied. It's not a minute, it's going to be a few minutes. When we go sign up for our activities that you can help out with in addition to what you're doing, you'll write your assignments right in that box so that you'll remember. And then we'll try to get that assignment on your name badge too, so you won't forget if you're supposed to go light a fire or if you're supposed to be the water engineer. Then you can remember what you're supposed to do. We try to make it fancy. You need fancy names for what you do because it's fancy. So in page 5, this is our thank you to you all. What you do matters. Don't ever forget that. When you're here at camp and you're running ragged, doing things that your body is not used to doing, and you're tired, and the kids won't go to sleep, and all you want to do is 5 hours before the next day, remember, what you're doing is important. So just take a deep breath and ask God to cover you and sustain you through this 26 hours because it is super key that these kids see that you are Jesus with skin on. This year's theme, it talks about be one of the bright ones. We talked about that. Next page, your role this weekend. I'm not going to read all those. I think that you can read real good yourself, like. And so you can go through that and you can see kind of our expectations. Please, create safe places in your groups. Start immediately. Start bonding with them immediately because 26 hours goes fast. So make sure that you're really starting to engage them immediately. Model worship, active listening and prayer. So when they're in here, the last thing we want is to see our leaders along the back wall not getting involved with the kids. Like, do your best to mingle in between your kids. Oh, side note, watch the bathroom breaks. We do have some that if they don't know what to do or they're uncomfortable in a situation, they tend to run to the bathroom, which is cool if they have to go to the bathroom, but if they're just going back there to hang out. Just make sure that you watch your group and you know where everybody is at all times, okay? All right, but don't stand on the side. Jump around, sing, get silly, because when they see you drop your inhibitions, their inhibitions will drop as well. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then be prepared, familiarize yourself with this book and the lessons. It'll come more naturally than if you're reading like this to them. Do you understand what I am saying? Yes. All right, follow up with your parents if at all possible. Don't let the ball drop. This is a great opportunity for maybe some kids are coming and they don't regularly come. Maybe you need to help the parents want to come to church. This is a great time for you to shake their hands, thank them for trusting their kids to you, and then follow up after. Be like, little Susie was awesome. She did this, this, and this. So make sure that they know that their kids were important to you while they were here with you. Page 7. Traits of 5th and 6th graders. So if your kids go crazy and you're like, is that normal? You can come to this page and say, oh, yes it is. Okay. All right. Page 8. What should I bring with me? This is just your checkoff list. Registration, you should get a copy of that too. This is just an extra of what you need to bring. Last year or year before, it rained, and some smart people brought the boots, like that they were walking around with. I was not one of those. I had some canvas shoes on, and my socks were wet. So, just pay attention to the weather. Make sure and mark that down. Anything extra you want to add, that's cool. Just make sure, if you have your phone on you for like emergencies or whatever, try not to pull it out unless it is an absolute emergency, or if you're going to take a cool picture of the kids that you can share with the parents later, right? But don't be on it. Don't be trying to message. Be in the moment. Be with them. All right, page 9. Here we go. We got some fill in the blanks. You guys got a pen or a pencil? Maybe? All right, when do I show up on Friday night, September 28th? You may check in early and drop your luggage off at your cabin. We're going to let you know. We'll be in contact with you. Either us or your church leader will be in contact to tell you what cabin you're staying in, where you can drop your luggage off. The map's on the very back of this, so if you're like, where in the world is Sugar Woods? You can see. Dinner will be provided by Chick-fil-A, and it will be served at 4 o'clock. We're moving it up just a little bit so we have a little bit of time with you guys. So try to get here as close as possible. If you want to get here early, drop off your luggage and then come. We'll start eating, we'll start serving. This dinner is for our leaders and our junior leaders. Because Chick-fil-A is gracious in donating, we don't have enough to feed all the kids that you might bring in your car with you, so you might want to pull through. Like Lebanon, we're just up there. They've got McDonald's, they've got Wendy's and KFC and they've got tons of stuff. So feel free to pull them through. But we want to feed you, we want to bless you because you are taking your time and serving with us. So you don't have to eat, but if you're bringing kids with you, we just ask that you please feed them before you come. The leader meeting will start promptly at 4:30. That's when we're going to go over the details. That's when you'll get your supplies. Families are going to start arriving at 6. And how many of you have been here before?
Me.
Wow, you have. You have. Okay, I don't know what it is, but when it strikes like 6 o'clock, they're here. And I don't know where they came from, but like last year, we had a line. I say it was all the way to 71, but people disagree with me. But in my head, that's what I saw. Anyway, they were here and they were ready. They're ready for camp. So we need to be ready, be on it at 6. Where do I go once I arrive? We're going to ask that you park. When you pulled in, did you see that? You saw that stop sign? Like you kind of wind around, it's just a random stop sign right there. You're going to take a right and you're going to park in front of this road. It's actually behind us where the horse is and it's fenced in. And there's a parking lot by Elk Lodge. And leaders, we ask that you're going to park over here. Okay? And you can even look at your map and mark that on there if you need to. Yeah, it's on the very back cover. Alright, so we ask that you park there. Drop your things off in your cabin, and then we're going to meet at Singerman Lodge. If it's nice weather, we'll do what we did last year and just be at that shelter house outside. If it's not nice weather, we'll be inside Singerman. But Singerman is where we normally eat, and it is on the map as well. The retreat is over Saturday night between 8:30 and 9:30. And the reason, that's a big range, but the reason why we tell you that is once the kids are gone, you're not gone. There's still a few things that we need from you to do. So it's just whenever you get done. So it'll be hopefully before 9:30 is the goal to get you out of here. So we ask that you please stay until your last child's been picked up and the cabin is completely empty. I still have a sleeping bag, by the way, from someone last year. I don't know where it is. Was it yours, Adam?
Is it a pretty princess one?
It's not. It's blue and yellow. It's not yours. Someone likes Michigan. I don't know. Anyway, okay, check-in procedures. We are going to introduce Miss Sarah, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about registration. Woo-hoo! You want to come up here?
I have to go up there.
Sure, you can stand right in front of you.
Come on down. Have you ever noticed that one person they always say, "Come on down"?
And
And
the
you gotta
first contestant
come up.
on the
Yeah.
40th contestant.
I guess maybe because it's kind of a slope, isn't it, in the audience? They say, "Come on down." Anyway, here you go.
Okay.
Grand. Okay, let's see. All right. The first thing I was going to say about check-in is you guys will all have boxes in your cabin, wherever that is, wherever you're going to be sleeping with kids. You're going to have a box that we're creating with all your small group stuff in it still. Yes. Okay. Also, in those boxes will be 3 name tags for each child, a lanyard for you that has your name and church, and it's going to have the schedule on it and some other information to make things a little bit easier for you to grab and check out when you need to. There's going to be a spreadsheet in that small group box that also has all of our free time activities listed out on it. All right? You're going to have to fill that out, but that's going to be a paper you're going to look for in there. You're going to have wristbands for the night games. There's going to be 2 different colors in your box, and I'll tell you what we're going to do with those in a second. There's going to be extra Camp Kern waivers. So when all of our kids register, their parents are signing a waiver for our liability, but we also have to have them sign a waiver of liability for Camp Kern. They're going to be emailed those, so they may come with them, but you're going to have extras just in case none of your kids come with them. You're also going to have security numbers for each one of your campers. So essentially, every parent or adult, whoever's dropping off their kids, is going to go with a security number for each one of the kids. What we've told them before is take a picture of that security number, and if you're not picking up your kid, or let's say I bring out 4 different kids from 4 different families, I'm going to have those. I'm going to text that number to their parents. If their parents aren't coming to pick them up, let's say round 2, somebody else totally is going to pick them up. They just need to have that number so that they can check those kids out with. Otherwise, we can't check them out. They can't go home, and you have to take them home to live forever with you. So it's really important that we remind them they have to have those security numbers, and text it. It's the easiest way. Just take a picture and text it. As long as you'll see it at closing time, you'll be good. In your box also, there will be like a gallon-sized Ziploc bag that's going to have some baby wipes in it, hand sanitizer, a few Band-Aids, and wipes, hand sanitizer, Band-Aids, and Kleenex. I always throw a few things of tissue in there too. Whatever your preferences of things that you like, I would suggest to bring, if you want to bring something extra, but those items are in there for you to use for the weekend. Our nurses will be here at check-in. They're going to be in one central location, and I can't tell you exactly where that's going to be right now because we're still a little up in the air of exactly where we're going to have cabins. We will have them in one location, and you will send all of your parents to the nurses if they need to hand off medication or any of those things. But the nurses will be here all weekend long. They are the same nurses we've had for the last couple of years, so they know exactly what they're doing. They know their way around the camp. They have a really good system of what they do, and praise the Lord. We have very few allergies. We have very few meds that we know of at this point. So let's keep it that way. Okay, so at check-in, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check out who all's in your room. As kids are coming, you're going to mark them off on your spreadsheet. You're going to collect the Camp Kern waivers if they're bringing them out. If they're not, they need to be filled out. You're going to give security IDs to parents. You're going to remind parents exactly how pickup works and that they have to have that number with them. Then you're going to send parents to the nurse if they need to check out with the nurse. And then you're going to send them home. The faster we get parents off this campus, the faster we can get to doing what we need to do. Kids, as soon as their parents are gone, you're going to give kids a name tag. We need to make sure they have a name tag on them at all times. Their name tag has their name, but it also has their church on it, so we can kind of, if we need to quickly grab somebody who's missing, we can find their church. You're going to give them a wristband. You can hand out wristbands however you're going to be. If you have 7 kids in your small group, you're going to have 7 wristbands. Everybody just needs a wristband. We're essentially dividing up, so everybody is split up for our nighttime stuff. And those colors are going to tell us if you have blue, you're going to go here. If you have red, you're going to go here. And please don't hold me to those colors. I don't know if blue and red is blue. Is that what? Okay. Gold is fancier. Understood. Okay. You're going to have 2 colors. Just hand them out to your kids and make sure that they're not your wrists. The other thing you're going to do before you head over here for large group is that spreadsheet that I was telling you about that has all the items listed for free time. You're going to write down what every one of your kiddos wants to do during free time. You're going to turn that list into me when you come to large group here, because we're going to have a nice big spreadsheet that I'm going to work on for Kira so she knows exactly how many kids we have going to what thing. Because it's really important at free time that we have small group leaders helping in every single area. And I think we have like 13 things, is that what we said? We have 13 different options for the kids to do during free time. So for some reason, the kids only pick 6 of them. The other 7 activities will wipe away, but we'll need to move small group leaders so we make sure we have enough people to cover all of our areas. And that's it as far as check-in goes. It seems like a lot. It's going to go real quick though. The biggest thing is making sure that parents have security tags, we've got waivers, kids have name tags, and we know what they want to do for free time. We'll be good other than that. When parents return and check out. So I didn't say this very well. So for check-in, when people arrive on campus, I don't know if all of you were here for the debacle of 2017. We will not be doing that again. Parents will come in and find a parking spot, because I'm going to be sending an email out to all of our families that have registered. They're going to get a packing list. They're going to get that camp current waiver, and they're going to get a map of campus, and it's going to say where all the churches are for their cabins. So they're going to know before they get here. We're going to hope they've read that email, but if not, we'll have some signage and some people out pointing. But they're just going to find a parking spot, and then they're going to go to that cabin, wherever their kids are. They're going to go to the cabin, they're going to drop off luggage, you're going to check in right there. We're not going to have one point where everybody has to funnel through. You're just going to come, park, find your cabin, and that's going to be it. So at close, we will have one point for parents to come and meet. And so we will meet for our parent meeting this is Snyder, right? I'm terrible with these building names. I cannot remember it. So we're going to be in Snyder, which will be right in here. Parents will come in. We're going to give them a quick debrief of everything that's happened. And then kids will come back. We'll do our closing ceremony. Kids are going to go with their small group leaders back to their cabins. So after dinner, when everything's been getting cleaned up, typically we've had you bring all their luggage and all their stuff out somewhere. Instead of doing that, we're going to have everything in their cabins. And so families will then go, after kids have gone back, you're going to check out in the cabins. So as small group leaders, it's not going to be as chaotic with lots of people every which way. You're going to know that you checked out every single one of your kiddos. They're going to take all their stuff with them. Hopefully it's going to help us a lot better with lost and found, because my office is full of lost and found for months. Yeah. So checkout should be much, much easier. And that's going to be about it. So the one thing that you notice is not your small group bins is your colored yarn. I have no reason to make yarn pom-poms any longer. It'll be wonderful.
That could be a craft.
Yeah. That's all we have.
Cool. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. And I did not just do registration by myself this year. Mr. Norman Rose is...
It's his birthday.
It's not his birthday. But it's Adam's tomorrow.
It's his pre-birthday.
Yes, it is. I saw it on Facebook, and Facebook doesn't lie.
Well, I'm not on Facebook, so if you're interested in how you found that.
Did I message? Not you? Maybe. I like to make new friends. That's fine.
Would you like some friends?
Isn't your birthday the 24th?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's not tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. No. What is today, y'all?
That will be next Monday.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next
But I
Monday.
don't have a Facebook, so you still message me.
I'm gonna have to.
Do you have any questions About check-in or yes?
I have a clarifying question for our leaders. So, if they're checking in with the leaders at the cabin mission, what time do you want all the leaders officially in the cabin ready for us?
So Andrew's question, just for the video, for those of you that can't hear, is as kids are checking into their cabins, because there's just no one point to go to, they're just going to go straight to cabins. What time do leaders have to be in their cabins for kids to check in? Leaders must be ready to go for children to check in their cabin by 5:45. Here's the thing. We say that registration starts at 6. I don't know the deal, but every parent is ready to drop their kid off at noon. So that's why we need leaders out here by 4, because we want you to find a parking spot. We want you to get to where you're supposed to be and be able to eat and have 5 seconds to go potty before you can't go again for the next 26 hours. So you have to be in your cabins by 5:45, because it doesn't look real well when parents show up at the cabins and there's nobody in it to drop little Timmy or Sammy in with, and so we got to be ready. So if you're one of those people that runs a little bit late, that's an alarm at night.
No.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anybody else? Any other questions? No? Okay. Write down my cell phone number. Not that it always works up here, but at home it will for the next couple weeks. 317-508-5272. You guys as small group leaders, you're talking to kids, you're talking to parents, those things. If you have questions that pop up, instead of like going to your leader, and then your leader calls Tasia, or calls Patrick, or calls me, and it's got a flip, just call me, send me a text, it doesn't matter. It rings 24/7. Okay? Thank you, Sarah. Woo! And then there is a list on the cabin by the direct comment. You were just so overjoyed. I appreciate that. God. Thank you. All right. The cabin cleanup, there's a list by the door in each one. We just ask that you go through and just double check and make sure. That way we're respectful of Camp's turn too, because we want them to like it when year comes, right? So that is one thing that we ask you guys to look at. Okie dokie. Here we go.
Station, before you turn the page,
Yeah.
page 36 is where the free-time activities is. They need to write that in.
We're going to get that. We got it. We're doing it in order.
Cool.
I have a plan.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I love her voice. She's raspy. All right, here we go. Retreat outline. We're going to go through the schedule. Are you guys ready to stand up? Did the teenagers in the front just say no? Come on, your joints work, your bodies work, you're good to go. We are going to do a welcome day. So when they come to the cabin, then Mr. Morgan Rose has been praying through and working through some activities that you're going to do with your few to do as icebreakers and to break down that barrier and to get them ready to receive. And so Morgan is going to come and lead us in one of those activities.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, me.
Today's the 16th. Tomorrow is not the 24th. I get it now. Thanks.
If you want to, you can do it either way, but whatever you want to do.
Hi, welcome to your cabin. I'm glad that you've come today to be with us at the WEiRD retreat. Okay, I'll break character for a second. So as they come to your cabins, you're going to be putting people... Yeah, back up a little. You're going to be putting people, probably helping mom, allowing mom to make the bed, making certain you answer mom's questions, doing those sorts of things. But once you've got most of your group, if not all of them, you'll want to start getting them interacting together. So I think we'll do a couple of those right now.
Yay!
So if you could stand up, put your things on your chair, and then join me over there in between those 4 buckets. We are going to pretend we are the happiest, friendly people that's ever been. With this number, I'm going to say that everybody who's got tennis shoes on is going to be in the inner circle, and everybody who has anything other than tennis shoes, circle around outside of them. So you guys make yourselves into a circle. Tennis shoe people make yourselves a circle. Those are tennis shoes. Those are tennis shoes. So you guys make yourselves a circle. to show you 2 ways to do this introduction activity. All right?
It's not the same as last year. I know, right? That's why
All right, so in the middle, this is my cabin group. All right, turn around, we all face each other's cabin group. Here we are. Hopefully the weather, and we know, is going to be gorgeous, so we're going to get in a circle. It's really nice to meet you all. So I want to learn your names. I know some of you come from the same church, so you already know each other. And some of you don't know each other, and I don't know most of you. So if I could have a little bear, what we're going to do is if everybody can take either one of your hands that you're happy with, just put that out in front of you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say my name, and then I'm going to toss my little bear to somebody else in the circle, okay? Now, I don't know your names. The polite way to learn somebody's name is to say, hey, what's your name? Seth. Seth. Okay. Hey, Seth. Seth. And when Seth catches that, he's going to say my name. Morgan. There. And now, Seth, my hand is down, so you can pass it to somebody else. So say their name, Seth. Come on.
What? I thought you told me to do it. Okay.
Say your name first, Seth.
All right, Morgan.
Let's say his name.
Hyatt.
Seth. There we go.
Yeah, sorry. We were this one.
And we did it. It's all right. We're going to help you. So now your hand is down, so you pass it to somebody else.
Matthew. Colin.
Wait, no, you Colin. I don't even know you.
You're supposed to say name and join me.
Just show you how it's
Colin.
There you go.
David.
You said his name.
Colin.
And you said somebody else before you took it.
Kara.
Okay. Okay. Oh, say his name.
Yes.
Do I?
Yes.
Yes, repeat everybody.
Okay. Patrick?
Yes. Kara, Rebecca.
Teresa. Adele. Hannah. Lisa.
And Brian's on the bench. Brian, you got back to me. Brian, goes back to me. All right, nice job. I'm going to refer to this. On Saturday, we're going to do some low ropes activities. And so I'm going to refer back to this one. We just passed this around the circle. Every person touched it once in an order. And we should make that activity more fun and have challenges to that, which we will later. But right now, kind of, you guys swap with the outside circle. Everybody, the outside circle coming in?
Appreciate that.
Sandals. Flip flops.
It goes without saying that they weren't with this. But you guys, because you watched it happen, are going to be so good at this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through how you're going to do sort of a more devotional type activity using the same start with your cabin. So, great to meet you all today. I want to get to know everybody's names. I'd like everybody to put one of your hands out in the middle. I'm going to throw you my angelic bear. And when you get the angelic bear, I'd like you to tell us something that is the best. So it could be the best candy you've ever eaten. It could be the best roller coaster ride, the best amusement park you've ever gone to. It could be the best day you've ever had. Or it could be your best teacher you've ever had. But you're going to tell us your name and then tell us the best. Okay? Because I'm really excited this weekend that we're going to have our WEiRD retreat together. And we're really hoping this is going to be the best retreat we've ever had. So we want to learn some other bests first. So I'm Morgan, and my best teacher was Mrs. Clark, my 5th grade teacher, because we went on a lot of field trips and had a lot of fun in the woods and caught snakes and salamanders and just a lot of fun. She was just a great guy, Mrs. Clark. All right, I'm going to say Kaylee. Kaylee?
Yes.
Kaylee.
So I'm Kaylee, and the best pizza I ever had is from Pies and Heights because they make gluten free pasta.
Talk about the car. Good idea, yeah.
I'm Jessica, and the best beverage is coffee.
I'm Sarah, and the best day is the new day of December.
I'm Adam, and my wife is the best wife. That's the camera, right?
Yeah.
My wife's the best wife in the world.
Good job.
And produce the skinniest. Yes.
My name is Asia, and the best smell in the whole world is a fire in the fall.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah, and the very best ice cream is WEiRD.
Yes.
Fire!
I'm Andrea, and my best year is this year because I've gone on like 4 trips, which never happens.
I'm Emma, and the best vacation I ever went on was to go to the
I'm Cindy, and the best dog I ever had, her name was Dave.
I'm Christine. That was the best time around. I'm going to say the best trip I've been on was the food convention. Woohoo!
I'm Joel, and the best candy is Sour Patch Kids.
I'm Natasha, and the best ice cream is black raspberry chips.
You guys just never had actual Macy's Brothers?
So for our group, these are a lot of awesome bests. And I can really tell how much you each love your best. And as I said earlier, I want to say it again, I'm really looking forward to this being the best retreat I've ever been on.
Well, that was good.
So I'm excited about it.
Mike Morgan Rose, www hashtag.
I do not have a stack of angelic bears. I may end up being baby girl. Two ways to end. We of course want to finish with a prayer, but I might recommend to do the names one more time so we do the circle again. So I'd say, Kayla? Kaylee? Kaylee? Just toss. Nope. We'll say that actually. You'll hear it.
Sarah. Sarah. Cindy.
Cindy.
Adam.
Emma.
Joel.
What's your name? Christine.
Morgan. And so we're going to end with a prayer, and that is one way to introduce a group. Let's just fade back so we get ready to order the circle again. Inside your packet, there are a couple other introductory activities. That's a great starter because it's a name one. There's another one about paper airplanes, where I would put a piece of paper over there at Adam's feet. We have all the kids make paper airplanes, and we might go with a target. They're all trying to hit that target. They're messing with the planes. There's another one where they're going to toss that same plane or a different plane back and forth with a partner to partner them up with other kids. It's more of an active challenge if the weather's lovely. If you get stuck inside because the weather is not lovely, we have 2 options. One is a 5-6 questionnaire. Here's the test. You guys are a team right now. You ready? Where? Say yes. Your team. This half. Oh, yeah, this half. Okay. This half is a team. Woo! All you have to know is every answer is 5 or 6. What can every answer be?
5 or 6.
5 or 6, okay?
We're glad to have you, Adam.
I have to pick different ones. These are the things that we're asking are also paper airplanes, are in your booklet. This is on page 15. So let's see, pick a number from 1 to 12. And only 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Sorry. So you are the spokesperson, but any of you can help her with the answer. She just has to give the answer. You ready? 6! All right. Are you ready? Jupiter.
Oh, Jupiter.
You're not on it.
The answer is either 5 or 6.
The answer you give me is 6. I'm sorry. And what must the answer be? 5. Jupiter is the 5th planet in the solar system. I'm sorry. Come over here. I'll give you guys a hard one too then. All right.
Wait a minute.
You got one. 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You are the spokesperson, but anybody can help with this answer.
Yes.
Could you please tell us Romans 6? 6.
He's not on our team January
low tension because they all get to work together. They always have a 50-50 shot at it. It was pointed out when I gave out the answer track, the number one thing on here is Weasley siblings. I forgot to fix this.
7.
That's a great guess, and you're wrong because I'm an idiot. There are 7 Weasley siblings. So what you have to say is, how many siblings does Ron Weasley have? He has 6 siblings. Sorry. All right, those are things to do when the kids get there. Thank you. 6.
All right, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Morgan. Let's go have a seat. Okay, y'all, so that's what's going to happen at the cabin time. Lots of games, lots of fun, and then you guys are going to head back over to this area, to Chuck Snyder Hall. That's what this is. Everyone say Chuck Snyder Hall. Something like that. And then at 7 o'clock is when they come in. There'll be music playing, the lights will probably be low. There'll be a party feel, and then we'll have the welcome, the rules, some kind of activity, and then the first lesson on salt, and that is going to be by Jake Niven, and then we're going to have a worship party. Does anyone from the large group want to say anything about anything that's going to happen large group time wise?
It'll be big.
It's going to be big. That's up to you. It's totally up to you. Yeah.
So just a couple of things that you might want to know. Just thought it would be good to describe the first opening activity that happens, just so you can help kind of manage your kids and help them know what to do.
They've got donuts.
Yes, they do. So we'll do the opening camp rules, but the opening thing we're going to do, Adam and his friend Sky are going to actually be kind of these mad scientist characters. The first thing he's going to do is a dry ice bomb with these ping pong balls. They're going to pop out all over the room. And the reason I want to explain it is because each ping pong ball is going to have something on it. It'll either have a star, or a blue mark, or a red mark. If it's a star, then that means they retrieve that ping pong ball, they get a prize. If it's red, they're supposed to share their favorite salty snack, and if it's blue, they're supposed to share their least favorite salty snack. So, anyway, they're going to be cleaning up the ping pong balls by putting them back in 2 would you rather buckets that are going to be in the front. So, basically, it's just these ping pong balls are going to pop all over the place. And they're going to be retrieving these balls, and then they're supposed to interact with each other, sharing about their favorite, non-favorite salty snacks, and then putting them back in the buckets in the front. So, just a little guidance might be helpful during that time. Then Adam's going to do some crazy elephant toothpaste type activities. Jake's going to teach us about salt. One other thing to know is that they'll be passing out during that lesson a non-salty snack, but there'll be a little tiny package of salt attached to it, so that they, at some point while he's teaching, he'll have them taste it without, then they'll add the salt and taste it with. It's just kind of an object lesson, but just so you're aware that there's like this tiny salt packet attached to it. Then we'll have the crazy dance party at the end. If you want to wear something weird, that's always fun for the dance. So
I do want to Sorry, my bad. Well,
it's for the video.
I know I like to goof off, and that's what I do. But I do have something serious I want to address. Just, that is going to be a bomb. Like, it's legitimately going to explode. But its timing can be off, so if I drop it and drop the ping pong balls on top of it and it doesn't explode right away, and your kids go, I want to see what happened, and start, we need you to keep them back. And there is
Do we have to use the word bomb?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it adds a level of seriousness that.
We're not in the airport.
Yeah.
Okay, it's legal. We're not in the
airport. We did this at church on a Sunday morning, and there was somebody in the building who was very VIP-ish, and the Secret Service was there. And so that was an interesting conversation we got to have. So just know that it is really legitimately a bomb. So, and there's one on Saturday morning that we're going to build a fire in my hands. It does flame up pretty well. Some of you have seen the video. Please keep the kids back.
What's on?
No.
Nothing's on standby or?
nuts. I mean, like, that's the only burn from the first time I did it, so it's, it's not too bad.
The nurses can handle it?
Yeah, it's not bad. So
So probably have to have a zone.
yeah, so when we say, please stay back, kids, we need you guys as small group leaders to make sure that your kids stay back, because legitimately it is dangerous. So.
I think there's only a couple other things you might want to know about the worship times and so forth. So we have an awesome worship band, and I know a lot of you have been here before, but the more you participate, then the more the kids are going to want to participate too, the preteens will. So, just really, even if inside maybe you don't feel it at the moment, just give it a little extra energy, and then I'm sure you'll feel the joy at that point. Just jump around, have fun, just get your kids engaged. A lot of times, sometimes during worship, kids like to take bathroom breaks, so let's encourage them to stay out here. And if anyone legitimately has to go to the restroom, one at a time. So that's just something that we've noticed kind of happens over the years. The only other thing is that on the closing session, you'll actually have a flashlight that you're going to get as part of your small group activities. As the small group leader, you need to bring all those flashlights with you to the large group at the very end. You'll hang on to those until we ask you to give them out, and they're going to use those flashlights for the crosswalk. What's going to happen is they actually are going to take those flashlights with them turned off to the cross. Turning on their flashlight and shining the light on the way back is them symbolizing, yes, I want to be a light for Jesus. So that's what we're going to do with those. There may be something else during that lesson, but just so you know, just to make sure you collect the flashlights from your one small group activity, bring it to the closing session, and then we'll use them again. Anything else?
Yeah.
Can we hear the Russian accent? Can you do that on command?
No.
Thank you. Thank you for trying. A for effort. Okay. Okay, let's off we go. So we talked about before, we're going to split the kids into two different groups. They'll have the wristbands that you as small group leaders will distribute. We've got group blue and group gold. They're going to split those two groups twice. Once on Friday night and once on Saturday. And the first time we split is Friday night at 8:30. Group blue is going to go on the night hike, which is epic. I love it. I'm so excited. Kara has come up with the coolest stops and the neatest ways to drive home the point of Salt Light and Shine at nighttime. And then the other half, they're going to end with s'mores. And then the other group, Group Gold, is going to be playing the glow game with Mr. Morgan and his team. And they're going to serve pizza at the end. And then those kids, so they'll have like an hour to play and to eat, and then they switch, right? So they get to experience both. But in order to get the most out of it, we divide them into two different groups, just so we can have some sanity at the end of the day. So Kara is going to come up and talk about the night hike.
Woo! Yeah. All right, so as she told you, we're going to split and do half of night hike, half of glow game. The night hike is something that is supposed to be fun for them, a little bit educational without them knowing it, and also, like she said, to drive home the point of the evening. So we're not just doing it just to walk around in the woods. It's not like an actual walking in the woods night hike. We're going to be doing activities along the way. We are going to have facilitators who are very highly educated and who are going to be there to teach each stop. And your main job is to be with your group and make sure they're listening and cooperating and so on, and let those teachers teach. And then you have your time to do small group before and after. So you don't have to worry about all of it being on you, just a little bit, just half of it. So, you're going to take your group, you're going to leave this building, and you're going to go out across the road to a big athletic field. And you're going to gather up with your group around your lantern right here that pops out. Pretty cool, right? I know. And it has 4 different modes. You're going to turn it on and gather your group around your lantern. Nice little circle, sing Kumbaya. No, just kidding. That's later. You're going to gather around and you're going to do small group questions, which are right here on this colorful page of your, what is this called, a manual?
Small leader guide.
Sure, small leader guide. It's the bright page in your small leader guide. You're going to gather them up and you're going to sit around your lamp, forgot it was on high. You turn it on low for ambiance. Or if you want to maintain night vision, there's red, or there's red flashing. We'll talk about night vision in a minute. Gather up, you have a kind of, you see how there's check boxes in front of those questions? You're going to gather up and do those questions. The number of questions that you'll get done before and after varies depending on when your group is sent to the hike. So there's going to be a facilitator or like a starter who is out there, and they're going to nudge you on when it's your time to get up and go. So check off the questions that you do as you do them so you know where you left off, because these are made to be done either before or after. You can do them either way. You might be the last people to go and you do almost all your questions before, or you might be the first group to go and you only have one question done and then it's your turn to go. So be ready for that to work with whatever they decide. So they're going to grab your group, they're going to send you along and tell you it's time to go. Some of you may remember where the schoolhouse parking lot is, where we had to park. In the front corner of that, or furthest from the schoolhouse, is where the night hike is going to start. There's going to be a person there who gives you an introduction that tells your group that this is a night hike, they need to take it seriously, they need to be quiet and stay with their group to get the most out of it and not ruin it for everybody else. Then they're going to head down the trail towards the log cabin. There's an 1800s log cabin back there. I'm a little worried the girls are going to freak out. They always think it's haunted or something. So we're going to warn them that it's there and there's nothing wrong with it. Hopefully they won't even think that direction. You're going to do one activity with a leader right there at that log cabin. This is a night hike, so it's very important that they have night vision, because half of the activities that we're going to do are based off of their night vision. That means no lights are allowed to be on this hike at all. You'll be walking in darkness, and it will be okay, I promise. People do it all the time. But in our culture these days, we think it's crazy, outlandish. So there's going to be no light whatsoever. So no matter how tempted you are to use that lantern, it's only for small group times, not for during the hike. At the first activity, we're going to do an activity with a candle to test their eyes at night hike and talk about how living in darkness isn't really the best choice. Then they're going to move on down the trail. They're going to go into the woods towards a fire circle called Deep Woods Fire Circle. There they're going to stop and they're going to be asked to write down the color of a crayon that they have. And that is going to be actually very difficult if their eyes are set for night vision like it should be. Then they're going to move on a little bit further down the trail and meet the next person. You're going to be the ones, when your person is done facilitating, they're going to say, all right, it's time for you guys to move on. Facilitator's going to stay there. You're going to lead your group down the trail quietly to the next one. If you guys say single file, it's not a treacherous up and down trail. We picked a nice flat one for you, so it'll be fine. The next activity, you're going to stop, and they're going to, all of it's in this little, colorful thing if you wanted to read along. You're going to stop, and they're going to do an activity with their thumbs. They're going to do an activity with sparks in their mouth, talking about having a light in them. And at the end of the trail, where it dead ends into the next trail, they're going to do activity where there's a mini glow stick invitation talking about how this glow stick isn't glowing because it's not broken, and then they get a chance to break the glow stick and see what it's like to live with light inside of you. After that, at the end of that trail, it'll pop you out at Sugar Woods, which are the cabins right next door. That Sugar Woods, it's your job to take your group from there and lead them through the parking lot to the fire circle, which is where you parked in that parking lot. You follow the end of it along the lake, and it'll lead you up to the fire circle. You're going to go to the fire circle, cook some s'mores with your group, and then after that, you're going to go away from the fire circle, where anywhere in that area around there, gather up around your lantern again, and finish your small group questions and debrief the experience with them. So none of it is like a crazy time. All of it is we're in the moment time. So try to keep them in that mindset the whole time, because everybody will get a great experience out of it if you can keep them there. If they go crazy with it, then it's not so good. They'll have a chance to go crazy at the glow game. Once you're done with the s'mores, that activity, you'll get to switch with the glow game and go hang out with Morgan. Any questions on the night hike? Make sense? Yes, ma'am. You're going to be pushed. You're going to be pushed every time. The hardest part will be getting from Sugar Woods to the fire circle, and I hope to have volunteers there to push you the right way, but it just depends on how many leaders we have available to do that. Does that make sense? But otherwise,
watching online, can you repeat the question?
What?
For those watching online, can you repeat the question?
She asked if we're going to need to know where all the trails are and how to get there themselves. And hopefully you'll be nudged along every step of the way. Anything else?
If there's time at the end, they can look around, take a nap, and go look at the camp.
Oh yeah, at the end of this meeting, if you would like to look at the camp, or if you'd like to walk the night hike trail, or any of that, there is time. There'll be time afterwards if you have that, and I can make that happen. Possibly.
Okay,
Morgan. Then you're going to switch. If you were the gold team, you're going to start with glow game, and you're going to switch and go up. Glow it up.
not birthday.
In the interest of time, can I have 4 people who want to run around a little bit? 4 of you. A little bit, not a lot. Just 4 people.
Colin, Matthew, and Seth.
I was going to say, I volunteer my kids.
I didn't see any of your lips move, but that was really awesome how you threw your
Their hearts
voice.
are speaking for them.
I got 1. I got 2. Come on, 50%, 50%, 3, 4. All right. So the glow game is a lot like Capture the Flag, but there's a couple differences. So what I mainly want to do right now is tell you what the differences are, because those are the things that kids are going to ask you. And if you can't explain them, it's going to be tough because it'll be nighttime and loud. So let's go over there to Kara.
He's going to be an internet star.
All right, so when kids arrive at Glow Game, they're going to get split up. You will be split up into 4 different teams. So there's our first difference. Instead of 2 teams, we have 4. How will they know what team they're on? They are going to get a color. You will have a color. It will not look like this. It will be a glowing wristband you will put on your wrist, not on your ear, not on your sock, not in your pocket, on your wrist. Unless it goes around your neck. One of those 2 things, depends on what size our glow things are. All right, so that will be your team. On your back, Seth, come here. Seth, turn around. That way, there we go. Seth has a piece of tape placed upon his back, roughly between his shoulder blades. Not on the front, that'd be wrong. On the back, approximately at his shoulder blades. That is double-sided duct tape, so it is sticky. All right? And that's an important point. Have you guys been stuck?
Everybody except for Brett.
All right. Could each of you go to a bucket? Should we go to a bucket of their own color?
Yeah. Go to the bucket of your own
Go
color.
to a bucket you match.
Yes, there's one.
When they get out there, when you get out there, you'll have a glow. You'll have kids that glow like you. You'll be so excited about the kids who glow like you. You'll be so happy with the kids who don't glow like you. You will be standing in a section of this field that will be roped off with glowing lights. In your section, it will glow your color. Yay! In the other sections, it will glow other colors. Boo! And what you'll be encouraging your kids to do, Seth, for instance, has one of his own color. He loves it. But he can't get more in his own section. All of those are other people's. He doesn't care about them. He wants his own color. The one in his hand, though, is so that he can tag other people. The entire game, the tagging part, is about sticking the wrong colors on people's backs. Not your own team, the other people's colors, right? So you're going to try, here's our first test. You're going to try to come over here to green territory, and you want to steal one of his from the bucket. They all will work for him. First question, Seth. What will the smart player do? Take all of them and run. Grown-ups, it will be your job to suggest that that is wrong. They can only take one at a time. Take a back, Seth. Thing number 2. Matthew, what did you do to Seth when he came over to erroneously steal all of your glow sticks? How'd you do that? That may be the most awesome thing I've been told this afternoon. He says he threw it and it stuck to him. Don't teach the children that. It's not going to work that way. He'll tag him on the back by sticking it on the sticky tape on his back. Now, when Seth gets it on his back, he's tagged. Grown-ups, he is not allowed to take it off. He can only ever touch the one he picks up from the bucket. And how many is he allowed to have? One. When you see Seth, criminal-minded that he is, running with them sticking out of his hands and his teeth in his pockets, stop him. He can have one, take the other one's back, whatever bucket you choose. It doesn't matter where they go, except not their own color. All right? So you've been tagged. Unlike, this is the other difference, unlike Capture the Flag, he is not captured. He's just got the wrong color on his back. He takes his glow stick back to his area. Yay! Point for his team. Excellent. There are a couple of details that we want to work out, but I think that covers the basics. it looks like. You want to get colors? You want to pick up one at a time? Go. You can take one of your colors. There you go.
You can put it on your back. If you're not here for your you're going to slip it inside there. Oh, you just got stuck. If you're in the territory, you can sit
All right, please. Adults, would you like to make a couple of observations of how our 64 seconds of game have run? What should we be worried about?
Sliding.
Concrete's probably not our best choice. We should do this in the field. Good job. All right. Running into each other. It's going to be dark, so I would suggest adults, we want to spread out on the field and just be cautioning people. Flat out sprinting is probably not the best play. Running and dodging is probably the way to go with it. What else do we see?
Smacking each other.
I think this is going to be a challenge for a few people because that smacking is going to be an issue. I would suggest what I will be doing is just people that have a problem with that are going to sit out for a minute. And so literally I'd say, hey, first time warning, second time out. If you think it was egregious or you think somebody's actually being kind of borderline mean, I just walk them over, stand with them on the edge for 60, 90 seconds, and then say, are you ready to go back in? Do you want to go back in? What are you going to do differently when you go back in? And then let them back in. The one thing I didn't mention was that when they get their own color, that is their fodder for getting other people. So if they've got one, they can't get another one until they get rid of it by tagging somebody else. You can only tag people when you're out of your own area. Is that a little I missed?
Yes.
That might cut out someone slapping at the buckets.
Yes.
So if I'm in set territory from any of those three, I can't get set. This is his world. He can get me though.
Yes.
So it only goes one way. Okay?
Good job, guys.
Well done.
Yes.
What happens when they have straws in their bag? Is that just bad?
The point of this game.
We are going to count those up, and the winning team will have the least number of straws. We have not determined yet if we're going to have a couple of pauses in the game to collect them. I think we're going to need to. We haven't decided if that's every 10 minutes, every 12 minutes, every 15 minutes, but we'll whistle a timeout, pull them all, count them, put them back in buckets, and play on. Great question.
Great.
Wait, so you want to try to get the straws back in your bucket, or are you just trying to tag people?
Those are not, he asked, is getting the straws back in my bucket the point? That's your ammunition. So you want to get them back in your bucket, but those are not points. It's ones on your back that are points. But you can't get them on people's backs if you don't get them back to your area to give your teammates. I'll be fascinated to see. Some people might want to split that job up, have some people just tagging, some people retrieving. Any answer that seems fun is the right answer. Okay? Flow game. If you are allowed, if you'd like to be a referee, if you'd like to grab miscreants and talk to them earnestly about how they are not being Jesus, we would love you to help us with this on Friday night.
Seth, good job.
If you like to tell kids that they're not being like Jesus, is that what you just said?
No, I wouldn't say that.
I can prove it this year.
Oh, guys, on video. Darn it.
Hey, in your book, real quick, flip back to page 11 for me. I forgot to talk about the traveling chants. So one thing that we're going to try this year, you remember like in elementary school, and if you're dealing with kids that are a little bit younger, you might do a little clap, and then they echo the clap after you. Well, the thought is this year, for bigger kids, we'll have a chant. And that can be in here, if we're trying to get their attention. Like when I say weird, you say O's. Weird.
O's.
Weird.
O's.
Weird. Oh, that was not deflated, just quiet. Let's try this again. Weird.
O's.
No. Weird.
O's.
Weird.
O's.
Oh, that was good. That was good. You can do that with bright ones. You can do that with song like that. If you're going and you're walking with your group from here to Singerman to eat, or from here to wherever, feel free to yell at the other group passing you too, and you can get a little thing going back and forth, right? Does that make sense? Okay, flip to page 17. After we've had all that fun, and our bellies are full of pizza and s'mores, and we're exhausted from slapping our friends and not acting like Jesus. That's what Morgan said, right?
Yep.
Oh, no, that's not the takeaway. Okay, then we're going to go back to the cabin, and we're going to let them get ready. We're going to encourage showers. Oh, showers are good. They're really good for 5th and 6th graders, too. So encourage them, some of them will refuse. That's okay, but get ready for bed. Bring them back to their beds, and then have this debrief. Have a devotion. Here's an option. So we always leave you time to debrief your few, right? And that could be something as simple as, hey, how's your day? What did you love about your time tonight? What did you maybe not so much like? Things just to get conversation going. But here is something that Morgan came up with. It is back to the paper airplanes that they did at the very beginning. It's a little devotion on it, on salt. So it brings home the point. So here it's super easy. If it's in bold, it's for you to say. If it's italicized, it's just a thought. And that can walk you through that one. Okay, and then we've got lights out at 11:30-ish. We'll put an ish on there, but that's what we recommend for y'all. Okay? All right, next we have the sunrise devotional. If you turn to page 18 in your book, you've got this. Now, a little birdie has told us that we need to start being outside by 7 in order to see the sun come up at this time. And so what we're going to do is you're going to get your few together and you're going to get dressed. They're going to wear their weird shirts that day because we're going to get a picture, make them look all pretty, and before we mess them up. And then you're going to find a spot. Now, Kara, you said east was by Singerman, right? In the direction of?
Slightly to the left of Singerman.
So find a place. Know that in the morning the field is probably going to be wet, right? So just look for creative places. You don't want to go in the woods because you won't see the sun, right? So stay in the open. When you look at the sky, you'll be able to see where it's rising. But it'll be a beautiful picture. Read through this devotion when you get a chance. And this is what you're going to do together. The kids have a devotion book that they will get that is a mini version of yours. So it says the same things that's in here, but you're bold in here when it tells you to say. That's obviously not in their book. So yours is the guide to this book. Make sense? Okay, cool. All right, so the Saturday morning devotion, that goes till 7:50. So that's plenty of time for them to have quiet time with the Lord too, right? And then we're going to meet in the athletic field, which is the giant field right out here where we first pulled in, on the left, and we're going to get our group picture, okay? So we'll have some form of photo then, and then 8 o'clock we're going to go and eat breakfast. And can I say, Camp Kern has the best food. They really do. This is a good camp. It is top notch. So we'll have breakfast together. Kitchen patrol. We did this last year. So in your group, you'll pick one child and rotate it. Make it someone different each time. But they'll go in before your group, and their job is to learn to be a servant. So they serve the other group. So they go to the counter and they'll get a tray. The kitchen staff prepares these trays together, like a certain number. So they're going to go grab their tray, and they're going to take it to the table, and they're going to set it down, and they'll set the table. So it's that kitchen patrol's job to get the plates and the napkins and the forks and the cups and all that, and lay it out at the table. That way when the kids come, they can just go directly to the table and they eat family style. Make sense? It saves on time, it helps. And then that kitchen patrol person, if you want it to be the same person, or you could give it to another child so they all have a chance to rotate, will do pickup, cleanup while everyone is getting up. They just make sure that everything, napkins and everything's wiped down. So that's kitchen patrol. That worked really well last year, y'all. Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and they enjoy it. And kids enjoy it. They feel like it's a super special thing when they get to be picked to help serve that. Okay. Let's see. Then we've got, oh no, we're still on that. Sorry, I got my fancy transitions. Okay, and then we're going to do the morning sessions. You'll come back in here at 9 o'clock where we have a game, worship time, and the lesson on light. Mr. Patrick is going to be teaching that lesson. And then we split into groups again. Group blue is going to go to the low ropes course. And if you look at your map, on the back, let's see. Do you guys see where Chuck Snyder Hall is? It's right here. It's kind of in the middle. And it says Chuck Snyder Recreational Hall. You're going to come down where that little dotted line is, out to the main road. And you're going to turn, if you're looking at me, you're turning right? But if you're coming out here, it's going to be a left, an actual left. And you're going to go down here to where it says low ropes. And it's toward the beginning. There's that John White mound. Do you guys see that? Just past the pond. That's where they want you all to take your kids for low ropes. So if you're in the blue group, they're going to go to the low ropes course. And then group gold is going to stay here for Capture the Holy Spirit. Patrick, would you like to say anything about Capture? Becky, here you go.
We're doing half the kids this year, so if you're familiar with the game, it's Capture the Flag, but we put a Christian twist on it, so it's Capture the Holy Spirit. It's going to be half the kids, same field that we've been using. It should be a lot more controlled with half the kids, and we're only using leaders that have played it in the past, so it's going to be very, very good. So while one team is doing the ropes, and you see all of on the pages to follow how to do the ropes course, Capture the Holy Spirit will be explained to the kids when they arrive there. The leaders will already know what's going on, who's selected for that, and we'll determine that once we see how the groups are separated at registration. That's all I got to say. Yes, ma'am.
Can we have the leaders not dress up as scary? Like, I think it's an awesome idea, but I've got a little kid that gets nightmares easy, and like scary red mask in the forest.
No masks. We're going to be black, though.
Okay.
Yep, all black.
Yeah.
Yep. All black stand out, or to be distinguished from the white, the contrast. Yes. No scary mask, testosterone.
And Patrick, please label this as the CHS game, because this is in the book, so that we can keep the mystery of the game from people who have not come.
So inside the books itself is called CHS to keep it a mystery, because it gives like, are we playing that game where we run out in the woods and all that kind of stuff? And so we're like, I don't see anything. It just says this. So you can play like you don't know, because it says CHS on there, which stands for Capture the Holy Spirit.
All right, okay. Morgan, you want to say anything about low ropes or facilitating that?
Just real quick, let me point
Page
out,
27.
since it's in their book. Could we all turn our books to page 28, if you've got your book? It starts on 27. That's the introduction. It's polite. Turn to 28. We were going to run an example, but I just, again, it's hot. Let me just point out a couple things. The main thing that we would like adults to be working on, you're going to be with a trained facilitator from Camp Kern. He will know, or she will know, the rules. We're worried about what role does that leave for you all as the leader. So we just want to talk about this in terms of an attitude shift. If you're the other leader, what should you be doing? Number one, actually where it says challenge one. If you have a pen, circle that. Less talking, more asking. The number one thing, if you're trying to get a group of kids to get through a challenge that kind of ruins it as a grown-up, is to tell them what to do. Ask questions. What else can we do to work on this? Is everybody being heard? Does anyone have an idea of how we can change what we're doing? Ask questions. All right, skip down. Challenge 2. This is for you, the adult. As you're watching the group, you might be tempted to get really involved if they're winning, if they're succeeding. This is about the process. We want them to be struggling. So really what you should be paying attention to is who's talking, what's happening when they're winning or losing or failing, and try to see which kids are not being heard, which kids are not participating, and try to get them involved. So challenge 2 for you is get everyone involved. And that can be specific. Hey, Rachel, I haven't heard you. Do you have any ideas? Give her a chance. Over to the next page, challenge 3, failing is part of life. We often see with adults, we love winning, just like kids love winning, but that's not the point. Failing is part of what we all go through. We want to help the kids to process that with each other and still work as a team. Try not to be so big on, well, the reason you guys are failing is you're not listening. Again, that's not a question. And 2, it's not the point. What can we do to succeed together? Did Christ and the disciples always succeed? And maybe have that discussion. Last one, turn to the last page. The next page, the last one. Be awesome with little training. This is easy. The number one thing I see when an adult is in a group and not in charge that makes my heart wither and become crunchy and fall lower into my guts is when they pull out their phone and are doing something else. You are the example. If you're not giving them your attention, why would they listen to your suggestions later on? They won't. Be paying attention, give suggestions. You know, the kids who aren't paying attention when they try something, give them a thumbs up, give them a smile, be awesome. And then they will follow that example. Thank you.
I love that. Hashtag be awesome.
Okay. All right. So then we have free time, and I want Miss Kira to come up and discuss free time quickly.
Free time.
Yeah, we got to do it on supersonic speed. Here we go.
Please turn to the free time page, whatever number that is.
36.
36. And write it in the blank spot at the beginning that she told you to, so you know how to reference it. Free time. We have 13 different options for free time this year, with a variety of things. We got high energy, low energy, trying to hit everybody. In just a moment, you're going to be able to call dibs. So when I mention the names of these, be thinking, oh my goodness, I love that. I love making crafts. I want that one. In your manual guide, in your guide, on page 28, there is a spot with all of the options listed and a short description, and with a sign-up place. That is where you are going to write down what your preteens chose to do at free time, and you're going to keep a copy of that in your book for your reference, so you know where they are at all times during free time. There's going to be a green paper, thank you, that is separate from the book, and is identical to it. You're going to use this during arrival time. While some of the kids trickle in, you can give them a chance to discuss and decide what they want to do. They can read those descriptions. This one, they're going to sign up on here, and you're going to turn this in that little tiny weird window back there in Schneider, and Sarah's going to take it and work her magic, and we'll know if we need to, if one's at capacity, if we need to not do one, or where the kids are spread out for that. Does that make sense? So this green paper, it's going to go in the window, but you're going to keep a copy written down in your book for yourself so you know where the kids are. Let's talk about what your options are. The options are 9 square in the air. It's 4 square played above your head. Basketball, camp crafts, dodgeball. We have Camp Kern has 2 Gaga pits now, so we have poolside Gaga and Gaga Tango. We have the Nature Center and play a game called Camouflage. There's a ravine and tower hike. There's a river hike. Soccer. There's a leisurely tour day camp hike, and there's WEiRD games. We're going to need leaders to lead each of those activities. And when you decide that you are able and capable of leading them, you have a chance to sign up in just a moment over the table. You'll be given a paper like this that has instructions that says make sure you have your supplies or where to get them if you don't know where they are. Some instructions are the whole page, some are just a little bit. And then on the other side is a map that shows you where you need to go and where you need to get your supplies from. When it's time for free time, you're going to break out somewhere in the outskirts around this edge of this room. You're going to have your sign. And you're going to be like a tour guide who, when you leave, you're going to be taking this sign with you so your group trails behind you and knows where you're going. And we should have a head count for you of how many kids that you're looking for because you turned in those sign-up sheets. Does that make sense? Yes, Sarah?
Do the kids have to do the free time activity they signed up for?
Yes, they should. Hold on. Her question was, do the kids have to do the free time activity that they signed up for? And the answer is yes, because we need to know where everyone is present and accounted for. Excellent question. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
They just pick one?
One. Yeah, there's one free time, one chance, one shot. I got it. Questions, comments? Excellent. Who's up next? You want to take it?
I will. I'll take it. Okay, Sarah and Kara, if we all have fun, that's cute. All right, you guys can go over to the table. We are going to have a quick intermission, and by quick I mean like 5 minutes. You guys can take a break, stretch your legs, grab a snack, use the potty, chat with your newfound friends, and then sign up for service opportunities over there where my little pretty banners are. There's choice A, B, and C. I need you to pick 1A, 1B, and 1C because the A is things to do at the beginning and the closing of camp. B is what you're going to do Friday night, flow game, or the night hike. And C is going to be your free time choice for Saturday. So pick an A, pick a B, pick a C, and write it down in your book, and we'll see you in 5. In your book, remember that rectangle we told you about? You can write in that spot where you signed up to volunteer. Now, excuse me, it will be on your name badge, but it's always good to have it in multiple places and then to remind you. Because last year you get excited, you got the music going on, and you got multiple things happening. And I remember one group leader was like, oh, am I supposed to be doing the fire? Oh, we're on our way there now. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So just keep it in front of your mind that when you sign up for that, and I'll be in touch with y'all to make sure you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and when you're supposed to be doing that. So let's go ahead and find our seats and get this party started again. So Saturday continued. After free time is over, which those are some great options, aren't they? I'm pretty excited about it. Very good. Kara, you did a great job with that. We're going to go back to our cabins at 4:30, and that's cleanup time. So that's when they can take their bed apart, wrap it back up, or they can be like my kids and throw it in a ball in a trash bag, and then say, hey, Mom, I brought you back something. But that's when they can clean up their stuff. That's when they can make sure that they've got the little sock that's underneath their bed and make sure that they've got all their toiletries and everything packed up and ready to go. And then 5 o'clock, we're back over dinner at Singerman. Usually it's like fried chicken and mashed potatoes. And like I said, they don't skimp here. It's really good. And they always have a salad bar too. So then, 5 o'clock dinner, then we go to our small groups first. This is going to be a little different. Usually it's the lesson, and then we have a small group. This time it's small groups first, and you guys are going to be, let's see, what page is it in your book? I just had it, and then I turned it. It's like 31? Yeah, 31. So that is going to be your 6 o'clock devotional. So you guys just find a place. Just find anywhere. Try not to make it like on a roof or something. But find a place for a devotional. You're going to read and you're going to talk about salt and light and wrap it up as you're laying down the foundation for this shine as a light in the world to them. You're going to have flashlights for this one. They're going to get little flashlights. Do you have an example? Cindy's got an example right there. You're going to show it as an example as a leader guide, but you're not going to give it to them at that point because we've got a couple times, they're going to have to use it and give it back to you. So don't give it to them. Just show it and say at some point you're going to get this. It says that on page 34, next to last paragraph. I brought you each a flashlight. Show them the example. You're going to get yours before the end of the night. You can use them when you get up at night or walking in the dark to guide you. Okay, and then we're going to come back in here for the final session. We'll have a great worship, and then we're going to have a large group where Jake and Patrick are going to talk about shining. And is there anything specific that you want to say on that one? I think we've got, at one point in this large group, there's going to be, hopefully, right, a disco ball, and they're going to take those flashlights. You as a leader are going to distribute those. They're going to take the flashlights, and they're going to shine it to show how one light multiplies. And this is going to be like glitter fest in here. It's awesome. And then you're going to actually, you might want to make a note of this, collect those flashlights. Okay? Because as they're leaving for the crosswalk, we're going to have 2. Did anyone sign up for like at the crosswalk? Is it Bucket Brigade? Maybe? Okay. So you're going to be at the door, and as those leaders come past, your job is going to be to make sure that you turn in your flashlights. And we need them to turn in their flashlights, all of them, because it's the lesson for the crosswalk. So you'll take those buckets, or you'll take a bucket, someone else take another one, and you'll walk to the cross, and you're going to place those at the foot of the cross. And as they're wrapping up, I believe it's you, correct, Patrick, that's going to be talking to them and challenging them to pick up their light?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that'll be their opportunity for them to grab a light, and they will turn on the light there at the cross. And that's when they get the light from then on out, okay? And then they're going to walk back here. The parents hopefully will have arrived. As the crosswalk is leaving, we'll start having the parents come and fill in here. We'll have music happening and different things. They'll have the crosswalk, and then they're going to come. The kids are going to come through. It's really cool. We open up the garage door, and I mean, it's a holy moment, but it's beautiful when the kids can see their parents, their families that are here to support them, and the families can see these kids and how their eyes are glowing, and they're ready to serve Christ. And they come in, and it's beautiful, and we worship together. Then we're going to send the kids with their small group leaders, like we explained earlier, back to their cabins. Okay? And that's when you get all your stuff gathered. You can say your goodbyes, your hugs, if you want to do final pictures as leaders, that kind of thing. And then we're going to say a few last words to the parents to tell them what we learned here. And then we're going to dismiss the parents. They're going to come find you. You're going to check out with the parents. This is great, not just because it spreads us out a little bit more, but it gives you as a leader an opportunity to say thank you so much for entrusting your child to us. We had a great time. You can tell them stories, that kind of thing. Make sure they get all of their stuff before you say bye-bye. And we ask that you not leave until all of your children are accounted for with an adult and they're gone. Then you as a leader will take the last swipe of the cabin, make sure that everything is so. And then what we're going to ask you to do as leaders this year is come find your church leader, which should be in this room right here, tearing down things. And I just want you to say, hey, cabin, whatever, is taken care of. That way we know we don't have to go check it. We trust you that you checked it. Is there anything else I can do to help? More than likely, we'll say, we got this. Thank you so much for coming. We love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow. If there is something, then we can let you know. But the more hands, the faster we get this done, and the faster we can get out of here. Last year, it went super fast. It was very, very helpful. So that's it. And then the retreat ends. Dismissal. Just because the kids are dismissed doesn't mean you're dismissed, right? You caught that part, right? So I need you to check your cabins. I need you to make sure that all the stuff is gone. If there's anything left, you know how to narrow it down who it belongs to. Check that. Check in with your leader here. When we tell you goodbye, then you're good to go. Got it?
Got it.
Got it. All right. And then the retreat ends. Any questions? Yeah.
Last year there was some sort of app that we had for communication within the camp.
Yes.
What's that?
You're asking about the app that we used last year. We tried WhatsApp. I don't know that it was as successful as what we hoped it to be. We might come up with something in the meantime, but if not, we like to yell at each other like across the field. So we'll find a way to communicate with you. But we're not going to do WhatsApp again. But what we are going to do is we've got our Facebook and Instagram page. There's going to be live feeds that are going to go out to parents throughout the camp. So they'll be able to log on and see what their kids are doing and see a little glimpse of it, whether it's right at live or whether they can do it after. And that's if we can get service, because right now I don't have any service.
Yeah,
Does anyone have service?
It's about the Wi-Fi building.
Oh, okay.
Step out and then it comes back down.
If you step out. Okay, but we kind of wanted to film right here, but that's okay.
We
That's
just have
okay.
to find the places where the signal's good.
All right. But if not, we'll take pictures and we'll post pictures.
Eventually,
We can
We
take the
can
video.
try this also, what we're doing now.
We can try the video
Yeah,
on
because it can go
YouTube.
straight live.
So, like, if you do more than one video on YouTube, does that automatically make you a YouTube star?
Maybe.
Okay, we're gonna test that.
Yeah, you get your badge.
Yeah, a badge. I like badges. Anyone else have questions? Yes.
I'm a little confused. So
Sure.
For the service needs and activities that we volunteer for,
Yes.
we're supposed to be keeping track of our kids.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Well, it depends on what you signed up for, because there's some opportunities where there's no possible way. So we might have to move you, like when we look at where you are in relation to it. That just gives us an idea of what you like to do, and that's what we're going to try to put you in at. But like the beginning, the section A, those were things like welcome and greeting and all that. If you're the only leader in your group, I suggest that's probably not a good thing for you to do, right? Because we need you in your cabin welcoming the kids when they get there. If you are a small group leader and you have a junior leader, maybe that would be great for your junior leader to go out and help point people to. Does that make sense? So it just depends on what the job is. If you've got questions, ask your church leader or ask me afterwards, and we'd love to walk you through and make sure that it's not going to be a conflict of interest, because that's the last thing we want. Yeah. Any other questions? You guys, you feel nice and cool? Good grief, it's a sauna in here. Good news though, we all lost 3 pounds just by sitting in this meeting. Woo! All right. Okay, well let's go ahead and say a quick word of prayer, and then we're good to go. If you have any other questions, find one of us, ask us. If we know the answer, we'll give it to you. If we don't know, we'll find it out and come seek you out. Feel free to wander around the camp. Look at the map, and if you need to go and look, or if you want one of us to take you to a certain spot, if you're not for sure where it happens, we'd love to take you on a walk and show you where it is. We want you to take this time to get familiar with the place so that you're ready to be on when the kids are here. Okay? All right, so let's close our eyes and thank our God. Father, I just thank you so much for today. Today is such a busy day, a day that we set aside to honor you. And I know that these brothers and sisters in Christ, that's probably all they do on Sunday is go, and serve, God. And I just thank you for their hearts. I thank you for their hands. I thank you for their feet. I thank you for their head that is in tune with you, God. And I just pray, Father, that you would cover them and protect them and their hearts, and that, Father, in preparation for this retreat, that you would show them what you need from them. You would help them to be strong and rooted and grounded and not forget that their identity is in you as well. Help them, before they teach these kids, to truly grasp that themselves as adults, God. I thank you for the sacrifices that they're making, and I ask blessings, Father, upon them and upon their families for them coming out to serve. God, we lay this retreat at your feet. We thank you for the opportunity that you brought us together for, that we might not normally get to serve together, but yet you are bringing leaders all across this great city with like minds, with kingdom-focused minds, that just want to spread you and your goodness and your love, Father, to these preteens and help them realize that their identity is not in what magazines say. It's not what their friends at school say. It's not what the world is shoving down their throats, God. You created each of these preteens that's coming to do something special for your kingdom. You created them to stand apart, to be salt light in this world, and to shine your light to a world that's lost. Help us in this dark world be that light. Help people to come to that light, Father, and help us to be ready when you bring people. Help us, Father, to be able to make less of ourselves so we can make more of you, God. We love you so much, and I'm so thankful for each church represented. Please be with us as we go our separate ways and help bring us back safely next week. Thanks. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, one other thing, real quick. Dates. So, write this down. September 27th. That's a Thursday, and that is Morgan's birthday.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to have camp set up in this room. If it's all possible, if you're free that day, we would love to use help. If you have other parents or anybody that can help, send them here that day. Starting at 12 noon, we will be in here. We're going to be I totally blocked out, Patrick, the lights in the upper. We're going to be up with cherry pickers, blocking out those lights, and we're going to be hanging up stuff and putting up staging, all that jazz. We're going to be sorting out t-shirts and your small group leader boxes and guides and spreadsheets and all that fun stuff. So, any skill level, welcome. Please come on the 27th if you can. The 28th, 29th is a retreat. And then that following Wednesday, the 3rd, is your Wear Your WEiRD shirt day. That's when you want to encourage all the kids to wear it. Take pictures of where you are in your WEiRD shirt and hashtag it to Instagram. WEiRD Retreat. Post it on Facebook. I want people to be able to see it. Facebook, it'll be more adults like seeing, but Instagram, so the kids can see their friends wearing these shirts all over the city, and get creative with it. So, WEiRD Shirt Day. And I think, let me check. Isn't that pretty?